Vodacom has posted an 8% rise in full-year earnings after a sizable tax bill and high capital expenditure costs impacted on the company during the 6 months under review. Highlights of the period included a 30% increase in the group's customer base that equates to around 11 million people. Vodacom was the biggest gainer of the day with a close of above 3% to R103.30. For more on the results, we're joined in studio by Chief Executive Pieter Uys. He's smiling broadly. Market loves you at this moment. You can't do anything wrong. And I think it's also attributed to the dividend payout, of course, up 50%. So all positions go on Vodacom. Let's drill into the one area of contention, and that is the DRC. What is happening in that territory? You have stated unequivocally today that you will not let the DRC asset go come the 3rd of June. What is happening?
Yeah, so there were two issues. So 18 months ago, we started a process to resolve some of the shareholder issues, and then we had this curveball come from the side where Mr. Mabanga is suing us. In fact, we were in court here in South Africa, and then suddenly the case popped up in the DRC. And we had the judge rule there against us, and now it's developed so quickly that they've set an auction date for the 3rd of June.
Public sale on the 3rd of June.
I think it's a Sunday, so we'll have to.
Goodness.
It is a Sunday, you're right. It is
a Sunday, so that's interesting. But we're doing lots of things, so we're appealing at various levels through the legal system in the DRC. I'm still hopeful that we will find a solution. So we're not trying to overturn the legal system, but just trying to get our side of the story heard through the legal system and buy some time.
Pieter, this is turning into something of a headache for you. Is it worth hanging on to the DRC asset?
So this aside, if I look at the DRC, we've been there for 10 years now. It's just a great place. It's just it's so big. If you can take the whole of Western Europe and just plonk it on into the DRC and it'll disappear. It's probably got every single mineral that's ever been created in the DRC. So the potential is just so great. So somebody should continue to invest in there. It's a great opportunity, great people there.
Sorry, Pieter, do you see the DRC in 20 years' time being what Nigeria is now in terms of potential and market size, etc.?
They've got all the things for them to make a success out of it. And if they can fix a few things, if they can have stability and sort out some of the issues in the eastern side of the country, they would be a great player in the continent. I definitely believe so.
And Tanzania, how are we doing on that front? You are facing fierce competition from both Bharti Airtel and MTN. Are you managing to stand your ground?
So in Tanzania, we have Bharti and Tigo, not MTN. So what we've seen there in the last probably 2 years is where the tariffs have come down dramatically. We were not ready at the time. We had to build up our network again, because as tariffs come down, you have to build a lot of network to continue to offer good quality. We've done that now. And we have good, attractive offers into the market. So we've regained lost market share. So at the moment, we're in a good position there, growing the business, going well.
Mark, you want to jump in here?
It's quite interesting, you know, when one has a dividend policy, it can send signals. And, you know, and I was quite struck, actually, that you were saying today that about 90% would be the payout going forward after paying out virtually everything this year. In fact, I think a bit more than everything. So it seems that you're very cash generative. Clearly that's come through, and you've got more than sufficient cash flows without the need to retain. Would that indicate possibly a relative maturity in this industry at the moment, or would I be getting the wrong signal there?
Yeah, no, I think it would not be the signal that we're trying to send. So firstly, if you look at our debt levels at the moment, our debt is sitting down at 0.3 times EBITDA, which means there's a lot of capacity. If you look at our other peers in the industry across the world, we can easily take it up to 1.5 times. So that would mean that we can do a 20 billion thing somewhere if we need to, without having an impact on the dividend payout.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
In terms of your data revenue, up 26.3%. Obviously, you're investing in that space as you want to reduce your reliance on voice as a key revenue generator. Is there unlimited growth in data?
So firstly, most of the growth this time in the revenue came from the international businesses, which have really turned around, doing well, and then the rest came from the data business. Data, not just in South Africa, but across the board. M-Pesa also doing very well. So all of the investment now is going towards the future. And I firmly believe that data has got a big role to play in the company, in our subscribers' lives, in the economy around it. There's a clear link between internet penetration in the economy and the GDP growth in an economy. So I believe we should, as an industry, as an ICT sector, do more to penetrate broadband into even the most remote parts of South Africa.
So what is your infrastructure spend going to be on data for the next 5 years?
So we gave the guidance today. We said we were going to continue running our capex at 11 to 13%. This last year it was 12.9 if you include the non-cash items as well, which is at the high end of our guidance. 7 billion rand we've put into the South African network. Firstly, we had the glitch last year, I don't know if you can remember, but we've done a lot to improve the network stability and building redundancy into the network. We've also put a lot more extra 3G capacity into it. So we'll continue that trend at least in the foreseeable future. We've also readied the network for the next generation, LTE, when it comes. So the network's in a good place at the moment.
Going back to the Africa story, what about penetration into other countries? Did you allude to that in your presentation today?
Yes, so firstly, I was a bit hesitant to go and explore other opportunities when we were not doing well in our own businesses outside South Africa. But I think finally we've turned them around. It was the first time that the other businesses contributed positively to cash flow in the group. Yeah, we are looking around. We're not going to just rush out and do something foolish that won't add value to the shareholders. But if there are opportunities, I think we're in a better position. We now have a better recipe to be successful outside South Africa as well.
And then the question I have to ask you is on the branding front. Vodacom, Vodafone. You made the move from blue to red. It was well accepted by the market. Is it just a matter of time before we see you switching? What is the term? Switching the Vodacom brand for the Vodafone brand.
Yeah, so I'm working on Victoria to see if they won't switch the Vodafone brand to Vodacom, because I think it's a better name. It's more future-proof. It's not about the phone, it's about communicating.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to leave it. Thank you so much for your time. Pieter Uys is the CEO of Vodacom.